is Brussels, ground zero in the fight to get us in Europe into jobs with the skills we need for the future. I'm Maitreyi Sitharaman. Welcome to Real Economy. This week, we'll ask Europe's Employment Commissioner what can be done to ensure that we're prepared for a changing jobs market. We'll head to Ireland and France to see how an experienced workforce is reskilling itself for a smarter future with the help of both government and the private sector. And then we'll go to the UK to ask the question, do apprenticeships really make you more attractive in a job interview? We're getting older here in Europe, as you can see, and fewer young people means a shrinking workforce in the future that has to support a big old population. For that, they have to work, and productively. So what does the picture look like now and in 10 years, with skills demand and supply strongly influenced by growth, age, and regional differences? Here's a crash course.
Maria, Mark and George are among Europe's unemployed millions. Almost half of all employers complain that people like them don't have the right skills, meaning bosses have millions of vacancies. With Mark and George having low or no digital skills, they risk unemployment, since by 2020, 90% of all jobs will need some digital skill. By 2025, the majority of jobs will need high qualifications. Maria will have a career as she has a master's degree in biotechnology. Mark is a trained plumber. Medium-level qualifications like his will make up a big chunk of openings as well. George left school early, like 5 million other Europeans. 40% of them are unemployed today. By 2025, they risk becoming long-term unemployed, as only a few jobs will be available for them.
Now, through the crisis, more than 12 million of us were out of a job for more than a year. This group was mostly made up of men, some of whom were highly qualified. To get these long-term unemployed Europeans back into work, there are, of course, projects and money coming from the European Social Fund and the European Regional Fund. But as Fanny Goret found, to really open the course to the labour market for those who may have potentially given up, it takes not just government push, but also private sector initiatives.
In County Dublin, Ireland, getting out of long-term unemployment has not been easy for 34-year-old Ronan Cunningham. Before becoming a business owner, Ronan graduated in law and worked for a few years. When the recession hit, he lost his job and was unemployed for 2 years.
I didn't really know where to turn at that point, because I was in limbo. I had built up a bit of experience in small legal practice, but I wasn't fully qualified. I came across the Innovation Academy, so I looked into that course and I applied for it, and thankfully I got accepted.
Ronan took a 6-month course under Springboard, a public initiative that has trained 30,000 people since 2011 in the skills needed now and in the future. The course helped Ronan set up 2 years ago a company that promotes foot golf, a new sport in Ireland.
I had managed to find this golf course, so it was all about opening as soon as I possibly could.
Thanks to this training, Ronan could turn to entrepreneurship to find a new job. But it takes governments and companies playing together to help the unemployed to stay in the game.
For their part, companies sometimes invest heavily in career consultants to help staff transition to other internal posts or even to elsewhere in the jobs market. In Paris, we met one such expert in skills and employment guidance.
More and more people have to go through training to find a job again because the labour market is changing, jobs are changing, so they definitely must have their skills updated. We are now seeing a greater need for internal mobility from companies because they want to motivate their employees to stay within the company rather than requiring them to leave the company.
Such initiatives help those who've lost their job or are at risk of being unemployed by integrating them into careers with growth potential. According to the latest forecasts, the skills most needed in Europe will be those of professional services and service industries. Job opportunities will vary from country to country relative to their workforce size. So in a country where 1 out of 10 people are unemployed, Ronan's story is an inspiration to reskill.
Since we launched, I've managed to employ 5 people. On top of that, I'm earning a good living myself, and hopefully I'll be able to continue employing people in the years to come.
Joining us is the European Commissioner for Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion, Marianne Thyssen. Commissioner, what is the real picture in Europe? Do we have lack of skills, or is it that the jobs market has completely changed?
It's a little bit of everything. We see that more than 2 million vacancies are not filled. And this is for a big part due to a lack of skills. We cannot take a picture of the whole European Union in once. It's not one size fits all. If you go, for instance, to the region of Toulouse, where you have an aerospace valley, you need other skills than when you go to the city of London, where there is a big focus on the financial sector. But what is important is that the education world and the employers' world are sitting together to look what we need for the future. They can learn a lot from each other than just to live in separate worlds.
If they need to talk to each other, structural reforms are needed in many of the countries. What is realistically possible?
We ask and we demand to have a modern social protection system, and this means that you have to protect and support people, but also to enable them, to help the long-term unemployed. We do that very concretely with proposals to the member states to say, first, do a personal evaluation of all these persons. What is the potential and where are the problems? What are the barriers to come back to the labour market? Is it a matter of skills or are there other problems? Then we propose to make a kind of a contract about it. From the one side, they are offered a package. From the other side, they have also a commitment that they follow that path. What is very important is that long-term unemployed people are registered before they lose their motivation to go back to school, to accept again a training path and so on.
Let's pause that conversation and talk about the push towards vocational training for our young. The Youth Guarantee, the €6 billion Youth Employment Initiative all address the skills gap. But do these programs and apprenticeships really get young people not just jobs, but long-term careers? Monica Pinner went to the restaurant and program of 15 in the UK to find out.
A pinch of salt, a big dose of effort, add well-prepared trainers and highly motivated trainees, and you get 15. In this southwestern corner of the UK, 15 Cornwall is not only an acclaimed restaurant, but also a social enterprise that every year offers disadvantaged unemployed 16 to 24-year-olds the opportunity to train as chefs.
I've seen over 100 apprentices go through our programme. 80% of them are still chefing. Even the guys that didn't complete our course have still gone on, many of them into other restaurants and hotels within our industry.
The EU youth unemployment rate is more than double the overall figure. 11% of those aged 18 to 24 are early school leavers. That's why Europe is enhancing the development of high-quality apprenticeship and traineeship programs in line with the job market's needs and aimed at equipping young people with the right skills for a long-term career.
Inspired by celebrity chef Jamie Oliver, 15 Cornwall is an internationally recognised programme that the EU would like to see replicated, as today not all apprenticeships are of such high quality. The project was initially set up through the European Social Fund and European Regional Development Fund. It's received €2.5 million since 2006, in addition to UK government support. These instruments complement the Youth Employment Initiative that was launched in 2012 to support young people aged under 25 living in regions where youth unemployment was higher than 25%. Apprenticeship funds made a big difference to Jack.
Vocational employment, it's a lot easier for someone like myself. I'm not too academically bright. I've been to college and I was going to do the whole university approach, but it wasn't for me, especially here. It's been a big stepping stone, so it's kind of probably let me jump ahead in my career by quite a few years.
Projects like 15 not only have a huge social impact, the enterprise invests almost €1 million per year back into the local economy through its close-to-home sourcing policy.
Still with us is Commissioner Thayssen. Commissioner, has the conversation for young people about jobs and skills changed since the financial crisis?
We still see the consequences of the crisis, and it means that we don't have enough jobs. There are many jobs that have been destroyed. When we look at the conversation, young people and the demands of the employers, what we see is that because there are not enough jobs yet, that the demands, of course, are often high, the requirements of the employers, but that on the other side, we see that many people, when they don't find the job of their life, they accept lower levels of employment. So there we see a problem. Specifically for young people, that because of the crisis, they had no chance to have a work experience. This is why we are so keen on promoting the system of apprenticeships, because it gives young people often the first work experience that they need.
The quality of the apprenticeship matters, because you may end up going from apprenticeship to apprenticeship and never end up in a real job.
We have to be careful there. When you see that young people stay in precarious contracts, short-term contracts, only this one after another, then you can say this is not the right way. We have to accept these precarious work situations, but as a certain phase and a path to a better job opportunity. And this is why we say, be careful, don't accept a labour market where you see young people in precarious situations and the older one still in the good protected situations. And what we are developing next year in our skills agenda is that we are going to have a look what are the skills that we expect to be needed. And this is regionally diversified. It's not one size fits all. Secondly, we want to have a better system of the recognition of qualifications.
On that note, Commissioner, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.